What's up, YouTube? Blue Collar Crypto coming at you. We're going to talk about Bitcoin versus altcoins in 2018 and what's going on, and really talk about the Lightning Network, because for so long, the real criticism of Bitcoin is that it was old and slow. The case for altcoins was basically, hey, we're newer, we're better, we're faster, and the only reason Bitcoin's number one is because you heard of it first. But once you hear about the other ones, Bitcoin's going to gradually fade, it's gradually going to trickle, and the newer, better cryptocurrency is eventually going to rise and overtake that. Now, you heard that argument, that sentiment throughout 2017 into 2018, but the Lightning Network could change everything, because all of a sudden the Lightning Network brings Bitcoin right to 2018 and right to the forefront as far as transaction capacity is concerned. So then the use case for so many of these different coins and tokens really comes into question. And so Bitcoin in 2018 may start to regain a portion of the market share. Let's take you over to a graph that shows the percentage of total market capitalization. And all the way until the altcoin boom of 2017, the Ethereum rise, the ICO boom, Ethereum was above 85% market dominance. Had some dips a little below 80, but very dominant. And just in the last year, we saw the rise of the altcoins. And in my opinion, that was not surprising. I always thought, Bitcoin would have some competition, and Ethereum, with the smart contracts and the ICO development and so on, offered such a different use case. And not surprising, we saw Ethereum take off on its own accord. We've seen Ripple kind of take off on its own accord. And Litecoin, I think, is always going to be there. It's sort of like a test net. If you're trying to see if something's going to work on Bitcoin, it's like they tried on Litecoin first. So Litecoin will be around. But what if all these other choices here? You're Cardano, EOS, Stellar, Neo, IOTA, Monero, Dash. I don't have enough time to go into all of these projects and tell you which ones are better than the other, but I'm going to give you an impression of what type of altcoins I think will stand to do well, assuming that the Lightning Network kicks in. So we have to assume that Bitcoin is going to have lots of utility and lots of transaction capacity, and it's going to be very efficient as a currency. So anything that's going for like the main blockchain approach to just fast currency might have to kiss its ass goodbye, right? Because if Bitcoin can do everything you were trying to do better and its market cap is 100 times bigger, I think it's got you beat. You better find something else to do. Now, Ripple, because it's coming at the whole market from a different angle, the whole technology from a different angle, I think Ripple's going to be with us for a while. The same for Ethereum, in that the idea of allowing development on top of the platform. And we can go on and on all day about how Ethereum is subjected to scams, and that it might have a lot further to fall as all of the ICO platforms and all that, they start cashing out. But the premise of what Ethereum is trying to do in its number 2 position in the market cap tells me it's going to be around. And if Bitcoin rises with the Lightning Network, Ethereum, you still got a use case here. Bitcoin Cash, they can go to hell. Roger can go to hell. Anyone who buys Bitcoin Cash can go to hell. Bitcoin Cash is trash. It's done. Bcash, be trash. Sell, sell, sell. Get rid of it. The Lightning Network just blew you out of the water. I'm sorry, but those Bitcoin Cash guys, it just seems like a cash grabbing sort of BS nonsense that is rationalized with a lot of idealistic sort of we're the real Bitcoin nonsense. No, don't give me that BS, Roger Ver. You're trying to just bait and switch people like, hey, this is I'm not even going to get into that rant. Litecoin, as I've always said, like testnet for Bitcoin, it'll be around. Now, Cardano, EOS, Stellar, Neo, okay. If any of these guys here, and I'm not sure on the details of all of these, this is blue collar crypto. This isn't PhD expert crypto here, guys. Okay, just bear with me. I'm under the impression that a lot of these are trying to do something very similar to Ethereum. And I remember sort of what happened during the dot-com bubble, when there was like too many companies trying to do the same thing, and like one of them kicked ass and 3 of them disappeared. And I would hate to see this situation sort of develop when, like, if Neo and Cardano and EOS are, and I could be totally wrong about this, but my point is that if Ethereum's got the #1 market cap for this sort of a, ICO platform, smart contract development sort of thing, then how many of the other ones that have been coming up really fast are going to fall away just as quickly because it was a fad associated with the mania? So that would be a concern. Now, IOTA, given that it's a DAG project and not blockchain, that's unique enough to keep it on the radar. IOTA has a lot of good partnerships, but of course we've heard that they found some bugs in the code, but these things can be fixed in the fact that it has good partnerships. So I like IOTA a lot just because it has a different approach to it. Monero, I like Monero because it is so privacy focused. It's, I think, it's the #1, I guess, blockchain related market cap for coin. It's been around a long time. It's a high market cap privacy coin. It's got a lot of development. So Monero's use case is still unique enough to Bitcoin that I think it's going to remain relevant if the Lightning Network takes off and Bitcoin's market dominance starts kicking. Dash, honestly, if the Lightning Network kicks ass, we might forget about Dash. New Economy Movement, Tron. I mean, now we're going down here, and honestly, guys, I don't know enough about each of these projects. Nano, another DAG token, so definitely want to keep your eye on it. But like Bitcoin Gold, just sell it. Zcash, Populous. Heading down to my baby, which is Byteball. It's a little bit low right now, but if you're just looking to like speculate with the DAG coin as the sort of a unique use case. I mean, this is still the argument for Byteball, even though the market's been tanking, is that it has a use case similar to Ethereum, but it's a DAG platform instead of a blockchain. And there's no other DAG token that is basically has a use case similar to Ethereum. So right now, Byteball is unique in the market. There's just a lack of development going on. So I think what we're going to see play out here is the market cap, the market dominance of Bitcoin going up significantly. And so just to take you to this chart right here. Yeah. I think we might see this return and maybe come back up to the, I think 50% Bitcoin market dominance is a decent target. So honestly, guys, if you're diversified across altcoins, it might be a good idea to sort of pick your spots, sell out with a good average on the sell, and get into Bitcoin for a little while here. Now, as far as the considerations on the short term with regard to Bitcoin, we got to take you over to the charts briefly because we've had a nice couple days with Bitcoin, heading down. It got real scary here at 7,300. Then we saw a nice run up. But honestly, guys, I'm not liking the way this chart is kind of rounding, the previous, we saw that initial buy-in, that it continued bullish here. Now we saw it looking like it might, and then it just hitting that wall at like 9,200 associated with this little plateau here, and it looks like we're heading back. And I know you guys who've been day trading this and watching all the videos, you've heard about the death cross, which can be somewhat represented by a line like somewhere in this neighborhood. And that's the thing. Nobody knows exactly where it is, how much pressure there is, and this, that, and the other thing. But it also looks like we're trying to at least test some sort of bottom here, coming down low. But if we take it to the weekly chart, you'll notice a sort of a double test at 8,000, the 8,000 level on the weekly average. But what's concerning is this happened pretty rapidly. I mean, if you look at just the sort of angle of that correction, right, it smacks into 8 grand on the weekly average, sort of capitulates back maybe up to 11.5, and then smack in just a very short period of time. So if you're testing a bottom frequently and you're not breaking a lot higher, that's evidence that we might be entering a bear market that could see a weekly average going well below $8,000. So those of you watching the market on the short term, you might want to get out right now. You just want to put your money back in your bank account, put it in Tether if you trust it, and wait and see if Bitcoin, taking you back to the 4 hour here, You say that it's headed back down, and it may come down. You might catch it at 8,000, or if you're real patient and the market is more bearish than we thought, you might get some buys below 7 grand within a week or so. And of course, I don't like the sound of that because I don't want to see Bitcoin go down like that, but it's entirely possible. And guys, you got to be prepared for it. After a few days of going from 73 to 92, you know, I would like to think that, so see the point here from this bottom here, and then it kind of came up, looked like it was going to come down and then race back up. I'd like to see that, you know, something like, here come the blue collar speculative segments, guys. These are a blue collar crypto favorite, but like something like this, and then you know, something in sort of this neighborhood to ultimately break through the death cross. But guys, I think the death cross is just too strong right now, and I think at the very least, if I had to make a prediction on this, guys, I'm going to say that the weekly average bottom of 8,000 might hold for a little longer, like one more test. I don't think we'll ever get above 10K for a little bit on the weekly. So I think what we're going to see is a little play in this neighborhood. And maybe we won't fall like right with this pink line, but I think it's going to be hard to break out of this channel for a little while. Bitcoin has a lot of settling down to do as far as I'm concerned. I think there's way too much pressure. I don't think we're going to get that surge of momentum yet. But if you think about the entire year of Bitcoin, a little consolidation to say like in the month of June, July, just kind of finding itself sort of in this range and then ultimately coming back up. To give you just sort of a visual of what I mean by that, something like, you know, Lightning Network does well, market does well, the G20 summit says, hey, we're not going to regulate it so much. This is not unrealistic. I mean, you got to remember, this is cryptocurrency. This is volatile. This is an emerging technology. And this market is not done. There's a lot of energy here still. So this sort of a speculation, not unrealistic. If you're in it for the long hold, we'll go ahead and buy now and forget about it. But honestly, guys, I think we still got a couple months of settling down in this Bitcoin market before we really decide which way we're going to go. Now, the guys, there's still a chance that there's horrible news in Bitcoin, and that crypto somehow something major happens, sweeping regulation, and there's a further journey downward. And you got to be prepared for that. I mean, both financially and psychologically. Now, right now, all the signs we have say that we're looking good, but things can change on a dime, and you got to be ready for it. So stop losses, don't invest more than you can afford to lose, all the typical advice you hear. But I'm pretty excited to be in it right now. Might scalp a little bit of profit and kind of hold on, but honestly, it looks like we might have a good year ahead of us, guys. So let's make the best of it.